These are the decks that are irreplaceable to me, and this is my VR to truth in story. When I think of irreplaceable decks, for me, those are the decks that I do not see any other tarot or oracle deck competing with in my collection because of the way that I use them and the way they feel to me. I don't necessarily want to say that I personify my decks, but I do feel like a deck can be used for a specific thing because it does that really well, in my opinion. And some decks do feel like they have a different tone of voice to me and they read differently from other decks. Starting with my Dreaming Way Tarot. This is probably my favorite tarot deck that I own, and the reason that this is irreplaceable to me is because, first of all, it looks so whimsical. We're not going to talk about the backs, but the images on the cards itself, they look so whimsical, so fun. I, for some reason, sort of relate to these characters, but also not. I don't know, this one feels really practical. This is one of those decks that is really practical to me. I feel like if I had to assign an element to this deck, it would be the element of air, because it feels very communicative. I don't need a lot of cards to do a reading with this deck because it talks really loudly and it's really accurate, it's really practical, it's direct. It doesn't mind giving me a slap in the face, as it has done many times before. And I love this deck. If I want a clear, accurate reading and I don't want to beat around the bush, I don't want to go like too deep, but I want a practical answer, then this is the deck that I will be reaching for. I'm actually going to do a personal reading for myself later today with this deck, because I'm facing a career question that I literally today need an answer on. So I'm gonna do a reading for myself regarding my career with this deck. And I don't know, it is always so clear. I love this deck so much. This is the Dreaming Way Tarot. I have talked about this a million times before. And there's just no way that any deck can compete with this. And this is basically my go-to tarot deck. The next one to get out of the way is the Good Karma Tarot. This is actually the only tarot deck that I store a crystal with, the Golden Healer crystal. And the reason that I love the Good Karma Tarot is because, first of all, the art style, it looks absolutely stunning. I talk about this deck also all the time. I use it a lot in client readings because the imagery is just soft, gentle. And, you know, I have had a question actually on my channel on whether or not the Good Karma Tarot could be taken seriously by clients. Because it might look a little silly and funny. But actually, I have found this to be a really great deck to use for clients because of the gentleness and because of sort of the focus on positivity, but not in a toxic way, because it will still let you know what it is that you need to hear, you know, if that makes sense. It doesn't shy away from the harsher messages and the tougher things in life, but it does so in an uplifting and also maybe even a little practical way in how can we go forward. Like, yes, acknowledging that a certain situation is bad or doesn't feel good, but the focus is more on where can we go from here to turn it into something positive again. And that is what I really like. That is basically what I use tarot for. I want to acknowledge the tough, shitty stuff, but I also want to know how to go from here. And I feel like this is a great deck for that. This is irreplaceable because it is just so fun. I love the colors. There was a time where I wasn't really into this deck anymore and I considered decluttering it, but then I did a couple of readings with it and I fell in love with it again, because you have these almost zoomed in images, so you can really tell what they are thinking, what is going on. I mean, with this Page of Swords, you can really see sort of what it is about, and I love that so much. These are so easy to read with. I would recommend this deck to any beginner, but it's just so fun to read with. And anytime I read with this deck, it is just fun. And that is why it is irreplaceable to me. It's fun to read with, it's fun to look at, and the readings are just uplifting as well as practical. Let's do another mass market tarot deck. This is the Magical Dogs Tarot. And yes, this is absolutely irreplaceable because I have not found another animal-based tarot deck or any animal-based deck. Well, that's not true because I do have one in this pile. I have just not found another animal-based tarot deck that I can relate to as much as this one. And this is such an emotional deck for me. I know that sounds a bit strange because it's dogs, but I do feel so connected to dogs, and in some of these cards, especially the tougher cards, you can really see the emotions in the body language of the dog. And I love that so much. Like the way that they are, I don't know, painted, drawn, depicted here, it says so much about the emotion. And sometimes I can even get more emotions out of the way that these dogs are depicted than in some other decks with humans. And it just makes sense to me. And I love dog. I am absolutely a dog person. And that is why I so strongly relate to this deck. And every time that I look at a card or when I do a reading, I get really drawn into the details as well. I don't have any more words, I guess, because I love this. I love this deck so much. I love the dogs, and the guidebook that comes with this is also really great. And it has really sort of expanded my knowledge about the tarot and just given me so many deeper meanings to the tarot through the guidebook alone. And yeah, I absolutely love this. I don't think there is another animal tarot deck that could ever replace this, which is why it is one of my irreplaceable decks. This is the last mass market tarot deck on this list, and it is the Lightyear's Tarot. And okay, so I didn't want to get this deck for the longest time because everybody loved it and I wanted to be different. But you know what? I suck because this is an amazing tarot deck. And this is one of those decks that I will also grab for client readings. So basically like this one, the Good Karma and the Dreaming Way Tarot, those are my go-tos for client readings, because they read so easily, they read so effortlessly. So these are like my most practical, lazy decks. And I also really like the guidebook that comes with this. But this is irreplaceable for me because I love the art style. I love the depictions. It's so easy to read with. And I just don't really see any other tarot decks replacing the easiness, the practicalness of this deck. And it feels like I'm saying similar things about this one as for the Dreaming Way Tarot, but still they feel like they have very different answers. With the, I don't know, the Lightyear's is also way more colorful. There's still a lot of colors in the Dreaming Way Tarot too, but that one is more muted and this is way brighter. So it really depends on what mood I'm in. If I want a deck that has more brighter colors like this one, or more muted colors like the Dreaming Way Tarot. I don't know how I suddenly have a bunch of reversals in here. What the hell? I thought I put this back the right way, because that is how I work with reversals. After I'm done with reading, I take them out and I put them back upright for the next reading that I do, so I can shuffle in new reversals. So just the fact how versatile this deck is, as well as how practical it is and amazing for client readings, that is one of the reasons that this deck is irreplaceable. Also because it comes in this box where it fits the guidebook and the deck perfectly, and that is not the case for the other decks that I have shown you already, because those have to live in bags. Let's do more tarot, but these are all indie decks. First, the Tarot of Trees. Oh, this is such a stunning deck. This is by Dana O'Driscoll. I got it off of her Etsy shop, and this deck is so stunning. These cards are smaller, so I feel like this is a really great deck to take traveling, because it comes in a very sturdy box as well, and the cards are smaller. And I did not expect to be bonded to a deck of trees this much. And the funny thing is, some of these depictions feel really dramatic. Like, what is this? Trees don't bleed. But I feel like that is sort of the irony, or so, like, yeah, a little bit of irony, I guess, that comes within this deck. This deck can really call you out on being dramatic. So this is like my perfect Leo deck. I am a Leo, and sometimes I feel like I'm being a little bit too dramatic about certain things, And this is a deck that can really ground me. So I also feel like this is great for readings on tougher topics, because yes, it will show you what is going on, it will acknowledge the tougher situations, but it also has really that grounding energy because it is all trees, and trees are really grounded. It can also show movement really well. I don't know how she does that, but look at that. This is a tree, but there is still movement going on, and I feel like she has depicted that so incredibly well. Look at this. This looks like a tree going out on an adventure with the Nine of Wands. I feel like that is so clever and so funny. So yeah, I love this deck so much. I still want to edge it, but this is irreplaceable for me because it really helps me ground and really helps me find peace in certain tougher situations. So if something tough is going on, I can get this deck out, do a reading with it, and feel a little bit more peace of mind. Not in the same gentle way as maybe the Good Karma Tarot does, but I don't know, this feels like that like a person in your life that you can go to who will really calm you down, almost meditative, I guess. There's no guidebook that comes with this, but you can purchase a bigger guidebook online on her Etsy shop as well. The next irreplaceable deck for me is funny because this is the Afro Avatar Tarot. I did an entire deck study on this if you want to see that. But the reason that I say it's funny is because there is a deck creator, Push Kitty, and I have another deck of hers on this list, and she is creating an avatar, like a little avatar tarot that is absolutely adorable. But I still don't think that this deck can be replaced by that deck. I think Avatar is perfect, lends itself perfectly for a tarot deck because they are already working with the 4 elements. And what I really enjoy in this deck is the Suit of Cups corresponds with the element of water, and we do see the water tribe in all of the Cups cards. And that just makes sense. Like, I feel like if you make an Avatar, the Last Airbender inspired tarot deck, then this is the way to do it. And that is not how Push Kitty is creating her, or has created her little avatars deck. So here we have the Suit of Swords, which corresponds with the element of air, and we have Ong, an airbender. And it just makes so much sense that this is like, and I love Avatar, so that I had to have an Avatar inspired tarot deck, especially, like I said, it lends itself so well for tarot because we have all the elements. It just makes sense. I love it so much. And like I said, I did an entire deck study on this deck where I either looked at the specific characters and scenes from the deck, from the show, like the Hierophant here. There's a specific episode where we see this owl and we understand, and when you watch that episode, you understand what this card means with the Hierophant, why the owl is depicted as a Hierophant, and you get this deeper meaning behind the card. And I really like that. I don't know necessarily if those are things that I necessarily want to bring to another deck, because I feel like it's so unique to this deck. So not only is this unique or irreplaceable because there's no way that there's going to be another Avatar deck that is going to be as well made as this one. It's also irreplaceable because I don't think the creator of this deck is printing them anymore. It's absolutely stunning, and the shuffle is also really great. It is plastic, which isn't my favorite, but I love this. This is a deck that I learned to riffle shuffle with because it does it so easily. Yeah, it is absolutely stunning. I don't read with this like as often as the other ones that I just showed you, but I feel like I have to create some tarot spreads for this to work with it that are maybe Avatar inspired, Avatar related, so that I can really get to use this deck like I think it deserves. As much as I needed an Avatar deck in my collection, I need a Harry Potter deck in my collection, and this is the perfect one in my opinion. This is by Push Kitty, so the one who's always also creating the little Avatar tarot that I just talked about. This is gorgeous. The box is gorgeous. The production quality of the deck is gorgeous. This is the Harry Potter world and the Harry Potter characters, but it's depicted in sort of a cutesy way. Not necessarily the grown-ups, but the children in the movie. Look at that. That is such a cute art style. I really like it. And I know Harry Potter so well. So it just made sense to me to have a Harry Potter inspired tarot deck because I know all the, oh, look at that. I know all the backstories to every single character in these cards, to every like little situation that is going on here. I know what this is all about, and that makes it so that I have such a deeper understanding of these cards. I absolutely want to do a deck study on this deck as I did with the Afro Avatar Tarot. And I also want to create some spreads there that are Harry Potter inspired. It is so amazing. I love this deck so much. This is irreplaceable for me because I need a Harry Potter tarot deck in my life, because Harry Potter to me is magic, and I'm pretty sure that the only reason that I'm even interested in tarot and witchcraft and magic and all of that stuff is because of my love for Harry Potter. I just don't think there's any other Harry Potter tarot deck that is as well created as this one. Okay, so now we've had all the irreplaceable tarot decks, and now I want to share 3 irreplaceable oracle decks. First is the Sacred Self-Care Oracle. This is irreplaceable for me because I use it all the time at the end of like readings for pick a card readings, or I use it at the end of a lot of client readings. And what I use this for is I pull 3 cards, I just shuffle it and I pull 3 cards, and then for like, I don't know, a month or a week, we're gonna try to at least do one of these self-care prompts, because that is literally what this is. This is not really an oracle, but this is these are self-care prompts, and it can show you what is it that you need right now in your life to take better care of yourself. And tarot for me, it is all about self-worth, self-exploration, really getting to know yourself. And that is why I like using decks like these ones. And I also have like the next oracle deck I'm going to show you is all about self-worth, and those are just such big parts of my tarot practice that I need to have a deck like this in my collection. And I don't think there's going to be any other self-care oracle deck that is going to come close to this one or replace it, because it is so good at what it does and what I use it for. So that is the Sacred Self-Care Oracle. Next is the Thera-Pets. I already did an entire video on how I use this deck, and I just love this. These are pets, or well, not really pets, these are animals, and they come with affirmations. And these affirmations are so great. I feel like a lot of these affirmations are more than just your standard Pinterest quotes, but they really feel like you could go deeper, you could meditate on them. And I don't really feel like that with many oracle decks. A lot of oracle decks I either find too poetic, too trying to be deep, but this one just is so great. I absolutely love this, and I talked about this in another video, so I'm not gonna go on and on about this. I also know that many of you who have watched my video have already purchased this for yourselves or as presents for your friends, which I absolutely love to see, because this is such an amazing deck. And I'll link the video that I did on this in the description box, as well as in the eye here. This is irreplaceable for me because there is no other affirmation deck that, first of all, combines with animals in this adorable way, but that does affirmations so well. The last irreplaceable deck for me is the Dark Mirror Oracle. I'm not really about dark tarot decks, like for shadow work. I feel like the Light Seers could be great for shadow work. I feel like my Dreaming Way, my Magical Dogs Tarot, even my Tarot of Trees, they could all be great for shadow work. But the way that I use oracle decks is I want to have a specific need, a specific sort of mission, I guess, for each and every oracle deck. And the mission for me in my practice of the Dark Mirror Oracle is to show me what is hidden. What is it that I cannot see myself that is hidden? And that is what I use this deck for. I've used it in a couple of pick-a-card readings for challenges or things that are hidden, things that we don't know maybe about ourselves, challenges that we are facing. And that is what I use this deck for, and it does it amazingly. I do not necessarily like the guidebook that comes with this, so I made my own interpretations based on the like poetic weird guidebook, as well as what I see on the images, and inspired by the keywords or the key phrase, I guess. And I did an entire video on the deck study for that, for this deck, and my interpretations of each and every card. So yeah, the Dark Mirror Oracle is irreplaceable because I don't think any other Oracle or Tarot deck could be that amazing, like shadowy sort of deck for me. I don't use this all the time because I simply don't really feel like it and I don't always have a need for it, but it's still irreplaceable in when I do want something like that. This is the deck that I reach for. So these are my 10 irreplaceable decks. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Which ones of these do you have, and do you also feel like they are irreplaceable? Or do you have any other decks in your collection that are irreplaceable to you? I would love to hear it. You can click the link in the description to book a personal one-on-one tarot reading with me. You already know like what deck I'm likely to pull out for that. If you are interested in joining my channel membership, so you can get access to our private Discord server, as well as fun emojis to use in live chat and in the comments, and access to the video version of my weekly podcast where I do weekly forecasts through astrology and tarot, then definitely join the membership. Subscribe to the channel for more tarot chats and tarot readings. I would love to have you here, but for now, thank you so much for watching and hope to see you next time.